Florida sells you a postcard and hopes you never read the fine print. Palm trees leaning over white sand, a warm gulf the color of a swimming pool, a sunset that looks painted on. People move here to relax, to slow down, to let the weather do the worrying for them. And that softness is exactly the problem. Because Florida is not a gentle place pretending to be wild. It is a wild place pretending to be gentle. The warmth that makes it pleasant for you makes it perfect for everything else. Cold kills things. Florida almost never gets cold. So the reptiles keep growing, the insects keep breeding, the water stays warm enough for things to hunt in it all year long. The retirees on the golf course and the tourists on the beach share this state with an older population that was here first and has no plans to leave. Most of the time, the two worlds stay politely apart. But the line between them is thinner than anyone wants to admit, and it runs right through the backyard, the retention pond, the storm drain, and the warm shallow water where the children are swimming. Locals learn fast that the danger here does not announce itself. It does not roar or rattle from a safe distance. It waits, still and patient, in the exact places people feel most comfortable. Here are 13 animals sharing Florida with you, ranked not by how scary they look on a nature show, but by how easily you could walk right up to one without ever knowing it was there. We start with the animal everyone pictures because familiarity is its greatest weapon. The American alligator is so common in Florida that people stop seeing it. It sits motionless in a canal behind a shopping center, in a water hazard, on a golf course, in the retention pond of a brand new subdivision. A large one can be 12 feet long and weigh half a ton, and it can hold that weight completely still for hours, looking exactly like a floating log. What makes the alligator dangerous is not aggression, it is opportunity combined with human carelessness. People feed them, which teaches an animal the size of a small car to associate humans with food. They let small dogs run at the water's edge at dusk, which is precisely when alligators hunt. The attack, when it comes, is not a chase. It is an ambush from close range that ends before the brain has finished registering the splash. Florida has more of these animals living in closer contact with more people than anywhere else on Earth. And the ones that cause trouble are almost never the ones out in the swamp. They are the ones that learn to live next to us. The alligator is the danger everyone knows. The Burmese python is the danger almost nobody sees. These are not native animals. They were released or escaped from the exotic pet trade, and in the warm, wet vastness of the Everglades, they found a paradise with no natural predators. A full-grown Burmese python can exceed 17 feet and disappear completely into a foot of sawgrass. They are ambush hunters that kill by constriction, and they have eaten their way through the mammal population of South Florida so thoroughly that in some areas the raccoons, the rabbits, and the opossums have simply vanished. Encounters with people remain rare, but the reason is unsettling. It is not that the snake avoids you, it is that a predator this large and this well hidden almost never needs to be seen to do what it does. And the ones removed from residential neighborhoods every year are proof that the boundary between the swamp and the suburb is already gone. The water moccasin or cottonmouth claims the water that alligators and pythons do not. It is the only venomous water snake native to the southeast, and unlike most snakes, it does not flee. Cornered on a boat ramp or half-submerged log, it stands its ground. It coils, throws its head back, and opens that startling wide mouth as a warning, and if the warning is ignored, it bites. The venom is hemotoxic, breaking down blood and tissue, and a bite, far from a hospital, becomes a genuine emergency fast. What makes the cottonmouth so persistently dangerous is comfort. It likes exactly the warm, slow, plant-choked water that draws people in to cool off. Children who grow up swimming Florida creeks are taught to read the water's edge before they are taught to swim well, because a cottonmouth sunning on a floating branch looks, at a glance, almost exactly like the branch itself. The eastern coral snake is the opposite kind of danger. It does not stand its ground. It hides, small and secretive, in leaf litter and garden beds, and its venom is not hemotoxic like the pit vipers but neurotoxic, attacking the nervous system itself. There is no dramatic swelling, no immediate agony to warn you. The symptoms can be delayed for hours: slurred speech, drooping eyelids, difficulty breathing, which is exactly what makes it so dangerous. By the time the body sounds the alarm, the venom is already deep in the system. Its red, yellow, and black banding is beautiful and easy to mistake for the harmless king snake. And the old rhyme people used to tell them apart is remembered wrong, just often enough to matter. Bites are rare because the snake is shy and its fangs are small, but rare is not the same as safe. The eastern diamondback rattlesnake is the largest venomous snake in North America, and Florida is the heart of its range. Big one can be over 7 feet long and as thick as a man's arm, and it carries enough hemotoxic venom to make a bite a life-altering event even with treatment. Unlike the coral snake, the diamondback gives warning, that unmistakable dry buzz that stops hikers cold. But warnings only work if you can hear them, and the diamondback's camouflage against palmetto scrub and pine straw is so complete that people step over them, sit down near them, and reach past them without ever triggering the rattle. It does not want to bite. A bite spends venom it needs for hunting, but it will defend itself without hesitation if a foot comes down where it is hiding. And in Florida, the places it hides are the same sandy, sunny places people love to walk, move from the land to the surf, and the danger changes shape. The bull shark is not the largest shark in Florida water, but it is very likely the most dangerous to people, for one specific reason. Unlike most sharks, the bull shark tolerates fresh water. It swims up rivers, into estuaries, into the brackish shallows where people wade, fish, and let their children splash. It hunts in murky water close to shore, exactly where visibility is worse and swimmers are most numerous. Most encounters are cases of mistaken identity, a quick investigative bite in cloudy water that the shark abandons immediately. But a bull shark is powerful enough that even a mistake can be catastrophic. Florida leads the world in shark bites year after year, and the bull shark, comfortable in the same warm, shallow water that draws the crowds, is a large part of the reason. The Portuguese man o' war drifts in on the same warm currents, and it is not even a single animal but a colony, which somehow makes it worse. That translucent blue float riding the surface trails tentacles that can stretch 30 feet behind it, invisible in the water, armed with venom that causes searing pain and, in rare cases, a dangerous whole body reaction. The cruelty of it is that the danger does not end when the animal dies. A man of war washed up on the sand, apparently harmless, cannot still sting a barefoot hours later, and children drawn to the pretty blue balloon on the beach are exactly the ones who find that out. When the wind blows them ashore by the hundreds, an ordinary beach day turns into a field of small landmines that nobody planted. Back on land, the fire ant proves that danger does not need size. Imported by accident, these ants built an empire across Florida, and their mounds erupt in lawns, parks, and playgrounds after every rain. Disturb one even by standing on it, and the response is instant and coordinated. Hundreds of ants swarm up a leg in seconds and on a signal sting together, injecting a venom that burns like fire and leaves a field of white pustules that itch for days. For most people, it is misery. For the small number who are allergic, a bad encounter is a medical emergency, and because the mounds appear exactly where children play and people walk barefoot, the fire ant causes more actual harm to more Floridians every year than almost anything else on this list. The Florida box scorpion hides closer to home than most people would like to believe. It slips into houses, into shoes left by the door, into folded towels and stacked firewood, and it hunts at night. Its sting is rarely dangerous to a healthy adult, closer to a wasp than a snake, but it is painful. And the shock of finding one in your own bed or your own boot is its own kind of memorable. In the warm months, they become common enough in some homes that residents learn to shake out their shoes before putting them on. A small habit that tells you everything about how completely this state belongs to the things that were here first. The wild boar carries a different kind of threat, one built on sheer power rather than venom. Descended from escaped domestic pigs and released hunting stock, feral hogs now number in the hundreds of thousands across Florida. A big boar can weigh over 300 pounds, run faster than a person, and carry tusks that it knows how to use. They are intelligent, nocturnal, and destructive, tearing up fields and yards overnight. Most will flee from people, but a cornered boar or a sow protecting piglets will charge and being knocked down and slashed by an animal. That size is a serious injury far from any road. They also carry diseases that pass to people and pets, which makes them a quieter, longer-term danger than a single bad encounter would suggest. The alligator gar lives in the same rivers people fish, an armored, prehistoric-looking creature that can grow past 6 feet and is often mistaken for a small alligator when it surfaces. It is not aggressive toward people and there is no venom involved, but a fish this large, with a mouth full of needle teeth, becomes a hazard the moment it is on a line or in a net. Anglers who underestimate one, who reach for it too soon or handle it carelessly, learn that a frightened, thrashing gar is a great deal of muscle and sharp edges moving all at once. It is a reminder that danger in Florida is not always something hunting you. Sometimes it is simply something large and wild that you brought into the boat yourself. We end where the wild part of Florida still holds on, with the animal that represents everything the others do not. The Florida panther is critically endangered, its number so low that most residents will live their whole lives without ever seeing one. It is shy, solitary, and almost desperate to avoid people. And yet, as the subdivisions push deeper into the last wild land, the panther's territory and ours overlap more every year. Attacks on people are essentially unheard of, but the panther earns its place on this list for a different reason. It is a living measure of how close the wild still is, moving silently through the edges of a state that thinks of itself as tamed. If a large predator, this elusive, is still out there, sleeping between the golf courses and the swamps in the dark, then the postcard was always only half the story. The other half was watching you read it.